Zara was late getting home from work on Wednesday evening, causing concern for her husband, Thomas. Anticipating dinner together, Thomas waited until 7 p.m., but with no sign of Zara, he decided to eat reheated leftovers. Growing increasingly worried, Thomas attempted to reach her through calls and texts on her cell phone, but received no response. His efforts to contact her office were futile as it had already closed, redirecting his calls to the after-hours answering service. Zara's unexpected behavior contradicted her usual punctuality and communication, leaving Thomas uneasy. In the past, she had always informed him if she was running late and promptly responded to calls or messages. This behavior was unlike Zara, who typically informed Thomas if she would be late and always responded promptly to calls or messages. Growing increasingly worried by 8 p.m., Thomas decided to drive the 10 minutes to her office. Zara, the HR manager for a consulting firm, worked in a small office park in Plano, Texas. Upon arrival, he noticed the nearly empty parking lot, a stark contrast to the usual one or two cars present. Zara's absence in her designated spot heightened his concerns. Despite trying to call her once more, Thomas received no response, prompting him to drive down to a nearby dining and entertainment complex. Speculating that Zara might be socializing with coworkers, he combed through the parking garage, finally spotting her car on the third floor with its distinctive custom plate, a UDA Girls. Although reassured by the presence of her purse and cell phone, he wondered about her whereabouts. Descending to the ground floor, Thomas surveyed the area, contemplating the numerous restaurants and bars within the massive complex. Observing that Zara's car was parked at the far end near two establishments, he grew uneasy, especially considering the proximity to the Marriott Hotel. It was useless to check the Italian bistro first, so he headed across the alley toward the dimly lit Irish pub that Zara had shown him earlier. Carefully approaching so as not to be discovered, Thomas could hear the lively music and laughter coming from inside. Despite the lack of sporting events to explain the crowds, he suspected that something unusual was going on in the pub. Glancing through the entrance, Thomas witnessed a lively celebration inside. The venue was adorned with balloons, streamers, and a prominent banner reading, "Happy Retirement." A sizable gathering of 40 or 50 people engaged in laughter, jokes, and hearty drinking. It seemed evident that someone from Zara's company was retiring. Perplexed as to why Zara hadn't mentioned the party, Thomas assumed her busy schedule organizing it caused the oversight. Relieved that she was safe, he contemplated returning home when the crowd started chanting, "Speech! Speech! Speech!" Intrigued, he hesitated to watch the unfolding events. To his surprise, Thomas spotted his wife, looking joyous and slightly inebriated, standing at the front of the bar. The atmosphere grew silent as Zara expressed gratitude for the party, hinting at her departure. Her words about missing her colleagues and planning a life change left Thomas bewildered. When she mentioned sending postcards from southern France and invited everyone to join us there, Thomas felt a sinking feeling in his stomach. The realization hit hard. Zara, with whom he had envisioned retiring to the south of France, was now going there with someone else. His shock deepened as Zara turned to her companion, grabbing his face and sharing a lingering, passionate kiss. The man was none other than Oscar Rogers, her boss, CEO, president, and recently divorced millionaire. Everything became painfully clear to Thomas in that moment. Without a word, he turned away, retrieved his car, and drove home. During the journey, he called their 20-year-old daughter, Diana, a junior at SMU, who answered promptly. "Hi, Dad," she greeted. "How are you?" "Did you know?" he inquired. There was a brief silence, as Diana and Zara shared a bond beyond that of a typical mother and daughter, being best friends who spent much of their free time together, shopping, attending spa retreats, and confiding in each other. "What should I have known?" Diana nervously responded. "That your mother has been unfaithful, having an affair with her boss behind my back and leaving me for him," he revealed. There was another, lengthier pause, conveying all the information Thomas needed. "Dad," Diana began, searching for the right words. "That's what I suspected," Thomas responded. "What have I done to deserve this?" Dad, it's not what you think. Diana insisted. You should speak to Mom. Don't call me Dad, Thomas bitterly retorted. I'm no longer your father. You betrayed me and sided with her. You're dead to me. Dad, please listen. Diana cried out. Listen. What could possibly make me understand? Thomas demanded. Your mother retired without informing me. She's moving to southern France with her boss without a word to me. What? Diana exclaimed. Mom never mentioned any of this to me. You didn't know about her affair with her boss? Thomas asked. No, I swear, I thought you were referring to something else. I'm clueless about this. Are you sure? Yes, absolutely. I witnessed them together. I saw them at her retirement party just 5 minutes ago. She announced her move to southern France and then kissed him intimately, not like a boss, but like a lover. Dad, Diana sobbed, I truly didn't know. I thought you found out about Kevin and Mom. Kevin? Who's Kevin? What are you talking about? Thomas queried. Oh no, Dad, I thought you were aware. Diana lamented. Knew what? Remember the pool party we had in June right after school ended? Yes, I do. Remember the guy I brought Kevin? Yes, this SNU football team guy, Thomas recalled. What's the relevance? Remember when you got really drunk and fell asleep by the fireplace on the back porch? Yes. Well, Kevin and I went skinny dipping and he convinced Mom to join us. She got carried away as she was drunk. Kevin flirted and she responded. I got upset and made the mistake of leaving them alone for a few minutes. When I returned, I saw that Kevin had been intimate with Mom. I was furious, but she was drunk and claimed to regret it. She begged me not to tell you as she knew you would leave her. I didn't want you to divorce, so I forgave her and never told you. That's why I broke off with Kevin and why Mom and I have drifted apart. Thomas found it difficult to comprehend what his daughter had disclosed. Not only did Zara have a relationship with her boss, but she cheated with at least one other person. He felt nauseous and overwhelmed by the realization that everything he thought he knew about his wife was a deception. Dad, Diana beckoned. Are you still there? Yes, I'm here, Thomas responded. I don't know what to believe anymore. Dad, I swear I didn't know about her affair with her boss, Diana assured. If I had known, I wouldn't have concealed it from you. The situation with Kevin was regrettable, but she convinced me it was a one-time mistake. I believed her. But if what you're saying is true, she deceived both of us. It's true. Do you have evidence? No. What will you do? I don't know, Thomas answered. I have no idea. If she divorces me, she'll ruin me. I'll have to sell the house and all our property. She'll get half of everything. The worst part is I started my business after we got married, so she's entitled to half of that too. Hell, I'll probably have to pay her support on top of everything. But why should you be punished for being a cheater? Asked Diana. That's just the way divorces go, Diana, Thomas explained. Unless I can prove she is cheating on me. But to do that, I would have to have clear and undeniable proof and be able to convince a judge to allow me to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery. Can't you sue her boss or his company for alienation of affection or sexual harassment or something? She asked. I don't think Texas allows alienation of affection suits, honey, Thomas explained. And he didn't sexually harass me, so I can't sue them for that. Anyway, I don't think anybody harassed your mom. She seemed perfectly happy with how things turned out. So, Mom hasn't told you anything yet? Not a word. I only found out because she was so late getting home and she didn't tell me she would be. I got worried, so I went to look for her and found her at Patty's pub, having a retirement party in her honor. I wonder when she is planning to tell you, Diana pondered. I don't know, Thomas replied. She'll probably wait until the last possible minute so that I won't have a chance to do anything to interfere. What kind of proof would you need? Diana asked. I don't know, pictures, video witnesses, maybe a confession, Thomas replied. Daddy, Diana said softly. Yes, baby? I have an idea. Around 10:30 p.m., Thomas' phone rang. An hour had passed since he and Diana finished their conversation, and he had been sitting in the dark, contemplating his life and possible courses of action. He allowed the phone to ring a couple of times, sighed heavily, and then answered. "Yeah," he replied coldly. "I'm sorry, Thomas." His wife Zara slurred drunkenly. "I got your messages. I thought I told you about the party tonight. I've been so busy setting it up, I guess I forgot." "Party?" Thomas asked, feigning ignorance. "I wasn't sure if you were alive or in a ditch somewhere." "Oh, baby, I'm sorry," Zara replied. "Were you that worried?" How can she call me baby and act so innocent? Thomas wondered. "Well, you always call or text if you're going to be late," he explained. "So, yeah, I was worried. I called and called, but you didn't answer." "Why not?" "My battery died," Zara rationalized, "and I guess I was having so much fun that I didn't notice. I thought you knew I was okay, so I didn't worry about letting you know. I only noticed the phone was dead when the party ended and I was getting ready to leave. I had to put it on the charger to see your messages." Thomas noticed the absence of background noise and suspected she wasn't at the bar anymore. "So, where are you now?" he asked. Well, don't be mad, but I think I drank too much to drive home safely," she answered nervously. "So, some of us got rooms at the Marriott and are going to stay here. Everyone wants to party more at the bar and then crash after." "That's ridiculous," Thomas retorted. "Take an Uber, leave the car. We can pick it up tomorrow. We live 10 minutes away. There's no need to stay in a hotel." "Sorry, honey," she replied. "I already checked in. You know Camilla, who works with me? She didn't want to stay alone, so I'm sharing a room with her." Thomas was upset because he suspected she wouldn't be spending the night with Camilla. He also doubted she'd be getting much sleep. "I'll come get you," he fired back. "Get me?" No, Zara replied. "There's no need. I'll just stay here." "Okay then," Thomas gave up. "What room are you in?" "What? What room are you in?" "Why?" "I'm going to join you," he said. "I'll bring you something to sleep in and a change of clothes for tomorrow." "You can't," she blurted out. "Why not?" Because I'm sharing the room with Camilla," she explained. "You can't sleep here with her in the room. She'd be too uncomfortable." "Then let her have the room to herself, and you come home with me." I promised her I'd stay. "Okay, then tell me the room number, and I'll bring you the change of clothes," Thomas said. "You don't need to go to all that trouble, honey," Zara argued. "I'll just wear what I have on 2 days in a row. It'll be all right." "Yeah, right," Thomas replied smugly. "I get the distinct feeling you don't want me there. Are you hiding something from me?" "Don't be silly, of course not," she responded with a hint of nervousness in her voice. "Look, for the first time in our marriage you attend a work party without informing me, don't answer your phone for hours, and then insist on staying in a hotel 10 minutes from me while denying me the chance to visit. This is not normal behavior, and certainly not the conduct of a happily married woman. What's going on, Zara?" "Nothing's going on," she answered tersely, offering no further explanation. Thomas waited, anticipating more, but when Zara remained silent, he pressed her further. "Are you cheating on me?" he asked, already convinced of the answer. "Don't be ridiculous," Zara retorted. "You think I'm having an affair with Camilla?" "No, not with Camilla," Thomas corrected her, "but maybe with someone else. I mean, how do I know you're really sharing the room with her anyway? It could be anyone, some guy you picked up at the bar. Hell, it could be your boss for all I know." "That's not even funny, Thomas," Zara replied, sounding insulted. "I'm going to hang up now." "You're hiding something," Thomas declared before she could hang up. "I'm not hiding anything." Zara snapped back. "I called to tell you what's going on. I told you everything. I'm not hiding a damn thing." "Really? Because you still haven't told me your room number. Why not? Afraid I'll show up and intrude on your little lover's rendezvous?" "I said I'm sorry for not telling you about the party. I apologize for not answering the phone. I couldn't help it, Thomas. Sometimes shit happens. Ach, get over it. I'm not cheating on you. One time I forget to tell you where I am, and you freak out. Do you trust me that little?" Do you think our marriage means nothing to me? You're trying to deflect this onto me, Zara, Thomas told her. It isn't working. I didn't do anything wrong. You did. Don't act like a martyr. See, Zara exploded. This is exactly the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. You're so controlling and paranoid that you're smothering me. Smothering me, Gannett. I can't take it anymore. I need some time for myself. You know, the one thing I've always told you I wouldn't tolerate in our marriage is cheating, Thomas stated directly. I know. You've told me 1,000 times. It's just a stupid party. I'm drunk, and I'm sleeping here. I'm not cheating on you. But I'm not going to fight with you about it. They're waiting on me in the bar. Good night, Thomas. Zara, he called out. But she hung up. Damn cheater. Thomas stared at his phone, glowing in the darkness until the screen went blank, extinguishing the only source of light. Zara carefully placed the phone on the dresser in her hotel room, ensuring it was still connected to the charger. Her hands trembled. She had just outright lied to her husband, and the rush of adrenaline lingered in her system. I messed up, Zara thought. I should have mentioned the party and played it off. Now he suspects me of cheating. Damn it. She wasn't ready to disclose the truth to Thomas. With her salary continuing for another 30 days, she had at least that long before he would notice the depletion in their joint checking account. Her plans were set and in motion, and she didn't want anything jeopardizing them. If Thomas caught on too soon, he could create complications. She needed to keep him in the dark until the last possible moment. Is it worth it? Is the risk worth taking? With a heavy sigh, Zara unplugged her phone and addressed the person behind her. I'm heading home. My husband is freaking out, and I don't want him getting all worked up. I'm sorry. Grabbing her purse, she swiftly left the hotel room before changing her mind. She was less intoxicated now than an hour earlier and decided to retrieve her car and drive home. 15 minutes later, she arrived home, only to find the garage empty. Where is Thomas? Zara wondered. She dialed his phone, and he answered promptly. What do you want? Thomas asked. Where are you? Zara inquired immediately. Why do you care? Of course I care. I realized you were right, and I came home. Where are you? Pulling into the driveway, he explained. I went to find you, but your car was gone. He chose not to reveal how he knew where it was, so I came back home. You just beat me here. The garage door opened, and he parked his truck inside. Zara stood waiting for him, hands on her hips when he walked into the kitchen. He raised his hands, attempting to fend off the impending argument. Look, it's late, was all he managed to say before she threw herself at him, kissing and hugging him. He tried not to respond, but his love for Zara was overwhelming, and he couldn't resist. Despite being angry, a part of him wanted to show her he was there for her. It was a primal instinct, a caveman's urge. Instead of the anticipated scolding, he lifted her and carried her into the bedroom. He wanted her to remember this night, hoping she'd recall how much she loved him. Diana reached out on Friday to solidify her plan with Thomas, convinced that she could coax her mother into confessing the truth. Her strategy involved recording the conversation and presenting it to her father as evidence, along with her own testimony against her mother. The plan was to spend a spa day with Zara on Saturday and then deliver the evidence to her dad that night. Saturday arrived, and Thomas anxiously waited for the spa visit to conclude, anticipating his daughter's report. The day before, he had consulted a divorce attorney, and the news wasn't as dire as he expected. While his business would remain unaffected, he would have to share profits with Zara for a year or two. No alimony was required since she had her own funds. The division of other assets would be equal, and Thomas had come to terms with it. As Zara had put it, shit happens. Thomas sat contemplating his future when the door opened, revealing a surprising sight. Zara and Diana walking in together, both looking distressed. What's going on? Thomas asked. Zara walked directly to him, took his hand, and sat down next to him with tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry, Thomas, she said with a quivering voice. I've been keeping secrets from you, and I need to tell you the truth. You've got the wrong idea, and it's all my fault. I've hurt you terribly for no reason. I'm so sorry. What are you talking about? Thomas inquired, turning to his daughter. I confronted her, Dad, Diana explained, and she told me everything. Let her explain, please. That's not what you think. Thomas turned back to his wife. Okay, explain, he demanded. I'm not cheating on you with my boss, Thomas, Zara said, attempting a smile. He's a nice man, and I love him dearly, but not romantically. I only love you. He's gay. That's why he divorced his wife and is now openly living with his partner. I saw you kiss him, Thomas challenged. Zara blushed and nodded. Yeah, that was me being silly. I knew that was the only time I'd ever get to kiss him, so I did. Knowing he's gay, I overdid it a bit. I'm sorry I did it, and I'm sorry you had to see it without knowing the context. But what about retiring and moving to southern France? Thomas fired at her. What the hell is that about? You're moving? You retired? How could you not tell me anything? Zara lowered her gaze in shame. I wanted to surprise you. Surprise me? By leaving me? Thomas snapped. No, I was never leaving you. This is for us, Zara declared. For us? Thomas asked, confused. What do you mean for us? We've always talked about wanting to retire to the south of France, Zara began. So when the opportunity for me to take early retirement came up, I jumped at it. I was planning a big party to announce it to you, along with a 2-week trip for us to go to France for house hunting. That's all it was supposed to be. I wasn't moving there without you. I figured you would be surprised, but not in a bad way. Just a trip? Thomas asked, somewhat bemused. Yes, a trip for us, Zara explained. We could go and see if we really want to live there and try to find a house. I was going to use the trip to suggest that we go ahead and move there because I know with your work, you can be anywhere. I even talked to your boss to find out if you could work from there, and he said you could. So this whole thing was just a big misunderstanding. Thomas asked, then seemed to remember something. But what about the hotel room? You were going to spend the night there to sleep with someone, weren't you? No, I swear. Camilla was in the room with me the whole time and heard our phone call. Zara assured her husband. Nothing was going on. When she realized how upset you were, she agreed that I should go home. Zara pulled Thomas's hand to her lips and kissed it. Do you believe me now? Do you understand? I wasn't cheating on you. I wasn't leaving you. Thomas stared at his wife for a few moments before replying. Yes, Zara, I understand. I believe you. Oh, thank God, Zara declared, then threw her arms around her husband. After a couple of moments, he pushed her back and shook his head. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a stack of formal papers, handing them to her. What's this? Zara asked, staring at the papers. I want a divorce, Thomas replied calmly. Zara's mouth fell open, and she stared at her husband, wide-eyed. What? Why? You said you believe me. You understand. Oh, about the retirement and France thing? Thomas asked rhetorically. Yeah, I understand. I believe you. Then why are you divorcing me? Zara asked, tears running down her cheeks. Thomas stood up. I'll divorce you for sleeping with Kevin, you cheater. Kevin? Zara gasped, then turned to Diana and screamed, you told him. Diana was shocked. Oh, shit. Thomas snickered, yeah, shit. Shit happens. Thank you for watching my video to the end. Don't forget to give me a like if you like this story and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day and see you soon.